The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the Part 1 session of our DITA 1.2 interactive tutorial. My name is Hannah Samaru, Marketing Coordinator at Data Conversion Laboratory, and I will be your moderator today. For those of you who are not familiar with DCL, we convert and organize content to create electronic documents, populate databases, publish on the web, and basically get it ready for tomorrow's technology. This morning we are very excited to have Noz Urbina from Mekon Limited with us. Noz is the Senior Consultant and Business Development Manager at Mekon. With years of experience as a content strategy and content management consultant, Noz has provided services to Fortune 500 organizations and to small to medium enterprises. Mekon is a leading global systems integrator based in the UK and focused on increasing the effectiveness of business content and technical communications. We are thrilled that Noz is here to share his expertise with us today. Now I will turn the presentation over to Noz from Mekon. Noz?
Thank you very much, Hannah. I am so glad to have all you with me here today to talk about DITA 1.2. I've been working with DITA since the early days of wide DITA acclaim, and even narrow DITA acclaim, and 1.2 is definitely very exciting. This is going to be a very short session. We're going to do a crash course introduction to keys and conkeys, one of the most powerful and widely applicable functions of DITA 1.2. So a little about me quickly. This is my blog here. You can get in touch on there. You can find more about me and my company on mekon.com. And then the blog is lessworkmoreflow.blogspot.com. Probably best way to keep in touch is there. You can subscribe on the site. You can also meet me at CS Applied, Content Strategy Applied Conference 2012 in London this March 1st and 2nd. And there are more sessions, including another one that I recorded a few weeks ago on the DCL Learning Series. If you search LinkedIn for groups, you should be able to get the DCL Learning recorded sessions. Okay, so this is a three-part series. Part 1 today, we're going to look at key features, so that's keys, key refs, and Conkey refs. Part 2, we're going to look at subject scheme maps and the new conref functions. And then Part 3, we're going to try to do the rest, so that's learning and training and everything else. There's so much in 1.2 that this series really is an overview, and you'll have to come back for other deep dive sessions or maybe sign up for some training if you want to know more. I'm always doing as many webinars as I can, and I'm always happy to answer questions. We have some news, though. I have been called away to Asia, and fortunately I will be near Hong Kong, which is 13 hours out from the time zone that we're basing this around, so I'm going to have to record Part 2 and 3 because I will be in Asia for 2 weeks. We will be releasing them on the scheduled dates, but unfortunately we'll not be able to do them live like this one. So this one we're going to do Q&A at the end. The next one you can submit Q&A questions against the recordings, and I will get back to you in written form from China. So without any further ado, DITA keys. So you do need to know DITA to have any chance of following this. If you're jumping on this as a kind of intro to DITA 1.2, not knowing DITA, then I think that you can probably try to review the recording several times, but it would be best to do a couple of intro to DITA recordings first. So I'm going to jump straight in to talk about how keys work. Essentially what we're looking at, the reason that keys and all these functions exist is, what we're trying to do is, instead of xref or conref directly to other topics from topics, in the key world, topics reference codes called keys, which are defined in the DITA map. Those keys, in turn, link to the actual topics. So instead of pointing from point A to point B, we're going to point from point A up to the map, a key defined in the map, and that key will then point to point B. The result is we end up with very generic topics that can be used in various maps and automatically pick up the local values. So you'll see what that means in just one second. So to visualize it, for those of you who are more visual learners, unlike xref and DITA 1.1 conref, which are direct link mechanisms, keyref and conkeyref are indirect link and reuse mechanisms. So we've got a picture here of topic 1, and that is referenced in the map, and that's got a keyref or a conkeyref in the topic number 1 in the middle there. Then there's going to be a key which is being linked to from topic 1, and then that key will be mapped on to topic 2. So instead of element to element, they link element to the key, then to the target, so you get a sort of a roundabout link like that. But that's actually a very good thing. So I'm going to jump into an example now. So over here in my editor, some of you may not be familiar, this is Oxygen. I'll be using that for all of my demonstrations today. Just a quick intro, you've got the maps over here and where it says DITA Maps Manager. I've got 2 called Hyperwidgets EU for Europe, and then Hyperwidgets USA for USA. And then I've got 2 topics open, which I'll tell you about in a second. In both maps, you can see that there's no change when I click back and forth because the maps have got the same structure to them exactly. So they both go welcome, installing, and then there's legal info for Windows, and then there's a reusable topic. And the way that works under the hood is, I've got my EU map over here, and that's linking to the welcome topic, which was the first topic in the map. Then there's installation topic, installing, and then each one is actually going to link to its own specific regional stuff. So legal for Windows is a regional legal topic, and then values is the reusables here, that's also a regional topic. So they share the 2 gray ones in the middle, but both the USA map and the EU map have their own regional topics for the others. The other thing that they share is the keys that are defined in them. So we're going to see in a second how the keys are defined, but there are 2 keys. The keys are called legal and values. Legal points to the legal topic, and values points to the values topic. And the point is the names are the same. Even though the topics are different, the key names are the same. And that is where the power comes in. So I've got over here my content. Let's open this up now. Actually, I'll leave that up so you can see. You can try to map, in your heads, you can try to map the structure over here to this diagram if you ever get lost. So the welcome topic. I've got Hyperwidgets welcome. Hyperwidgets is a product I made up yesterday to make up this example. So Hyperwidgets is the product, and you've got the getting started guide thing, those things, congratulations, you're now the proud owner of whatever the product is, nice and condescending. Hyperwidgets, you can see I've got some codes in here for the name. Yeah. Excuse me. Accidental click there. I've got you see I don't know if you can see the colored background very well, but Hyperwidgets Pro, the word Windows, and then again down here, they've all got colored backgrounds because they're actually reused. So those would be, in a traditional setup, conrefs. They would go from this topic directly to another topic which had those values in it so that we could reuse those values across several topics. And then I've also got this whole grayed out area here, and this is also reference. If I right click, I see edit reference. I can't actually edit in here. This whole support contacts is also a reuse, and that's being reused from the values topic. But you can see that it's specific for Europe. It says support contacts for the rest of Europe use UK, and I've got UK, Germany, and France in there. Now, with no editing to my topic and no changing of pointers or changing of file paths or swapping over anything, if I just change over my map here and start working in the hyperwidgets USA map, I've changed the context that I'm talking about. So welcome.data is shared by both, but now I'm saying welcome.data in the context of the USA map. And if I hit refresh here, the whole topic's going to update. So the hyperwidgets product in the US is actually called HWidgets because it's much cooler and sexier name. And we don't need all those contact details. We just have the one USA contacts. So we've done the reuse here, and we've done what we would have otherwise had to do with conditions with keys. So now let's look at the map and see where that's all defined. Okay. So I'm going to scare people by going into the plain text view here. But it's actually a little bit faster to kind of see what I'm talking about. And I've got this pretty diagram on the right, so hopefully you should keep up with me. So we've got links to the global topic welcome, links to the global topic install, those are the gray ones in the middle. Then in the European map, I've got a link to the European reference, which is the EU regional version of the legal information. That's down here, the EU legal. But the key for the EU legal is legal. And if I compare that to the USA map, I've got the exact same structure. I've got the key equals legal, but I've got a different path associated with that key. So that is what allows us, by sharing the key but changing the path, that is what allows us to map from one key to two different values. And when you saw the names, hyperwidgets, and the contact details changing, that's coming off of the values key. So that is another key, values. It's shared by both maps. You can see it here in the USA one, and here again in the Europe one. And the only reason that's there is to provide values for other topics. So it's a resource to the map. And so we've set its processing role to resource only so that it doesn't show up in the table of contents. The net result of all this is that when we publish, without changing anything in the topics, and we could run these two jobs in parallel, unlike when you're using conref and you have to map over, you have to swap over resource files and stuff like that. When we run this, we will get the appropriate content for each one without having to mess with any conditional settings, without having to tell the system what we're talking about, what context we're in, what audiences we're talking to. We just say go on that map, and it will process, and it will get all the correct values out. I've got about 2 minutes left for my talking time, and then we're going to have about 15 minutes of Q&A, which I imagine will be replete with questions. While that's running, I'll go back to this. Oh, it's done already. Great. Okay, so I have my output, and I can. I'll do that over here now. So you see, we're looking at the USA map. We've got the welcome topic, and it says HWidgets welcome, and HWidgets Pro for Windows, HWidgets Pro for Windows, and has the USA contact details. Then I've got my installation topic, which is just a task, and it says HWidgets as well. But what I wanted to show you is the result of that last key, which I kind of talked about but skipped over. The key legal. HWidgets and all those, they're actual reuse links. So those are like content references, but they're Conkey references. This one, legal, that's just a key reference. So if we look at welcome, we can see the legal key is on the word Windows. And that mention of the legal key on the word Windows, those of you who are really XML heads, I'll show you attributes there. It says keyref legal on the keyword. That means that any time that keyword with that keyref value is shown, I will automatically get a link from Windows to the appropriate regional reference topic. So I can use the same code in my references, in my content references throughout all my topic, but I can change where links will go and what content will be shown when you get there. So that's really how it works. I will now do one last thing, which is show you the code for what one of these references looks like. Okay, so if we take, for example, the product name, which was hyperwidgets and hwidgets. The product name is applied to the product keyword, and we've edited the Conkey Ref attribute. And we've said, if you go to the map, look up the values key, and in the values key, there's going to be something named product name HW. And I want you to get that value for this element from this path. So it goes to the map, looks up the values key, looks up where the values key is pointing, and then if I launch the topic for that key and go all the way down to the keyword here, hwidgets, I can see the prod name, the ID for hwidgets is prod name HW. So that prod name ID is what we told it to go look up over here in the actual topic. Look up this key, this ID. So it looked up the key, got all the way down to here via the map, and then there's the actual content. Okay. So have we got any questions, Hannah?
Hi, Noz. Ashwasama wants to know if USA_values.dita value for href attribute, if that's a DITA topic, and if it is, then where does it reside?
Okay, so say that one again.
Is USA_values.dita value for href? Oh, href attribute,
yeah.
Is that a DITA topic? And if it is a DITA topic, then where does it reside?
Where does it reside? Okay, I can show you in two ways. I'll show you in the diagram, which is a little bit more friendly, but I'll also show you in the actual files. Okay. So it was USA_values.dita, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So it's being mentioned here in the href in the maps. So the values key has to have an href. So the key says values, and then it says where you're going to find the thing that I'm talking about when I say values is on this href, and it's a topic. And it is sitting in a subfolder called USA, and then USA values.dita. So we'll go to my actual folders, go down to USA, and there's USA values.dita. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Noz. We have another question from Nalwen, who asks, any special reason why the conf keys are displayed in the table?
No, there is no special reason. I could have done this as a list. I could have done them, like literally all I would need would be the element and ID. So if I could have had the keyword straight up here in the body like that. Oop. Doesn't want to do that. Sorry, that's just me having fun with my editor. But there is no significance to the structure. I did this so that if I was managing this, I'd like something like that, which is easy to look at, so I can see my values nicely and read everything nicely. But there's actually no significance to the table at all.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
So I want to kind of warn people that when I trained on keys and conkeys, we took an entire afternoon to go through it. And what I wanted to give you was a 15-minute session to just kind of show what was possible, where I can get 2 types of output out with very little work. And now the recording is going to be available to you to rewatch as much as you want and go through the steps. It will be a bit different in your different editors, but I just don't want anybody to feel bad if you're scratching your heads a little bit, because we're doing something quite new and we did it really fast. So I'm happy to field questions after this, but what I want to get at is really that this is kind of a better mechanism than what existed in DITA before. Do we have any more questions that have come in, Hannah?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Nolan has a follow-up question. Can Noz show the actual folder organization?
Sure. It looks, it's basically kind of like the diagram. We look over here. The root folder is session 2. And then we've got a USA folder. Oh, ignore that, because I'm going to be using that on our next session, the Toshiba thing. Ignore that. So I've got a Europe folder, a USA folder, and a global folder. My global folder. My global folder has the welcome concept and the install topic, because they're global to everything. Then the Europe reference has the Europe legal reference in it, and the USA reference has the USA reference in it. That's just my output directory where my CHM was built. And my maps are at the root over everything, so they can be reaching down into all the folders below that. As we talked about earlier, in the regional folder, right in the root of the regional folder, there we put our regional-specific conref targets. So we can reuse everything in EU values by pointing to this regional-specific values file.
Great. We have another question from Michael, who says, I assume that the keyword element is not significant. It is the ID that is important. Is that correct?
Yes. I think I've got that here, actually. Yeah. So key refs and Conkey refs can be applied directly to many elements that the user might want to look up on a click. So I used keyword, but people could be wanting UI controls or xrefs or index terms, API names, site, etc., etc., etc. There's lots of elements which you can apply the key ref to, and it will point to an ID in another equivalent element. They have to match like conrefs, but it doesn't matter what element you use as long as they both take the appropriate attributes, key ref and key.
Okay.
Sorry, no, just key ref and ID. You key ref to the key that's in the map, and then the key in the map goes to the ID of the actual element.
Okay. Kevin wants to know, how well are the keys or key refs supported by tools such as the Open Toolkit and others on the market?
Oh, well, the Open Toolkit and others on the market is a very wide range. The Open Toolkit handles keys fine. As I said in the beginning, I'm using Oxygen. Actually, the other editors are still working on releasing their 1.2 support. I get to speak in my job with a lot of vendors, some big global brands in this space, and there's a bit of a chicken and egg going around, where the standard has made a big leap forward, and now the vendors are still kind of playing catch-up. So I know that the editors are going to be coming out, all of them will be coming out with support soon. The only one who has full DITA 1.2 support right now is Oxygen, but I have a pre-release, I've seen pre-releases of all the others already, and they have their positives and pluses and minuses, but I'm just happy that everyone is going to support the standard fully now. CMSs, they will support the DTDs, they will support you doing it, but because the editors haven't done it, the CMSs haven't really done it. Everybody's kind of waiting for everybody else. But once the editors bite the bullet next year, we should see really, really fast and wide uptake.
Great. Any other questions?
I think if I go through the some more of the advantages, then some people might get, get their minds jogged. Okay, so I've had clients that are looking at linking glossaries. Terms may have different definitions depending on who you're talking to. So if I'm releasing a maintenance guide or a guide in Europe or a guide for medical devices applications versus commercial applications, you have one term or a keyword or something, and when you click on it, you want to go to a different reference. So with traditional links, that means that you have to manage your target. So if you've made 1,000 references to a term, they'll link to the glossary, but you don't want different values for what glossary term you're talking about. It gets really complicated. So with this, you can change thousands of links all at once just by going into the map and changing the key value. So I've got today the legal reference, the legal key points to the USA regional. If I reference that legal topic, or if I had a legal disclaimer or warning in thousands of topics, if I just changed this one value, then all of those links would all change simultaneously. So in maps, also you might want to know that refs can make key refs, and they can be a target or both. So I've got a topic ref which defines a key and defines the key legal, but I could also have the key ref or Conkey ref set on this topic ref so that we can have the same topic showing up in various points on a map or being reused from other places as well.
Okay. We have some more questions.
Great.
Brett wants to know what are the risks of using key ref and Conkey ref?
The risks. They're no different than the risks of conref or xref. As long as you've got the tool support that kind of makes it friendly to know what context you're in. So if I do, I will purposely screw it up, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I've got my welcome DITA. I'll turn that on, and I just want my. Where's my map manager going? Okay. So now I've got nothing open in my map manager. My map manager is how I tell the editor what context I'm talking about. So when I switched back and forth between hyperwidgets and hwidgets, I did it in the map manager. Now with nothing open, if I refresh, the whole thing freaks out because it's saying I can't resolve a reference without the context of the map that you want to resolve it in. So it adds a little level of complexity, but it's a kind of thing that it's like conref, it's like topic-based authoring. Once you get used to it, it's easy, and then once you get used to it, it's incredibly powerful. And I wouldn't say I can say that there's much in the way of downsides to it. It's really fantastic what keys and conkeys can do.
Awesome. Bill wants to know, is there other written information available to use for learning and practicing this feature? And if so, where can he obtain it?
Other written information. You know, I'm a bit of a jerk in the way that I kind of usually only keep track of the stuff that I write myself. I know that there's material out there. If you Google DITA conref and keys feature, then there are some explanations. The documentation in the actual specification is a bit tough, and I've heard some real experts in the field say that it took them a few readings, and honestly, it took me a few readings to really get where the spec was going, and once it fully kind of dawned on me what this could do, then I got really excited. But it took a little while. So I would say that we're a bit short on really good references at the moment. I know there's one on the site called the Dynamic Publisher, and that was an excerpt from the Rockley Group's DITA 1.1, and Anne Rockley is somebody I work with on a regular basis. And it's kind of a simple overview like this. If you want good, more in-depth written tutorials, I haven't seen any yet. I'm hoping to write some, and I will release them. Those of you who haven't seen me present before, this has been, as I said, really fast, maybe a very new concept for people in a very short amount of time. So I hope you check back in with us in the future and have another flip through this. It's only 15 minutes, and I really think it will sink in a bit more. Do we have any more questions?
Well, we do have a few more questions, but it looks like we're all out of time. Do you want to just maybe answer one more?
Let me just quickly zip through these advantages for the people who didn't.
Okay.
Builds can happen at any time. As I said, you don't have to swap out your conref targets or do any funny things in your CMS to make them happen. It works on inline elements. Those of you who understand relationship tables are fantastic because the links can't break, but you can't make inline references. You can only make related references at the bottom. This works on inline elements, as you saw with the Windows thing. And you get those nice clean topics. And as long as the same keys are defined, the links will automatically work wherever they're used. And I guess that might be one other thing you have to be aware of, but it's no different than checking about link integrity or anything else. If you reference keys in your content, you have to make sure that you're reusing it in maps that also define those keys. So you do have to keep track of this. People can't be referencing and making keys willy-nilly or else you'll get lost. Okay.
All right, well, oh, sorry.
Off the file system, you're doing things before you needed the CMS, and that's really great. And then hopefully the CMSs will add value and take you to the next level when they come out with their support.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like we're all out of time today for questions, and thank you so much for joining us for the first session of our DITA 1.2 interactive tutorial. For those of you who didn't get your questions answered, we have them written down, and Noz is going to answer them, and they'll be posted on the DCL Learning Series section of dclab.com. If you have any questions that you did not ask, please email them to Noz at noz.urbina@mekon.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I will get back to everybody's questions, and happy to receive more by email. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.